The good old Hyundai Sonata could be on the chopping block. We got some news coming out of Korea that's making me scratch my head. We're at chosen.com. Hyundai to stop producing iconic Sonata. Now, take what you hear today with a grain of salt, but doesn't mean it's completely dead. And we'll give some options on how it could survive. But let's jump into this. Hyundai's expected to stop making the trusty midsize Sonata sedan. First launched in 1985, the Sonata has become the longest surviving model in Korea, and more than 9 million of them have been sold. Hyundai says they have no plans to continue producing it amid plans to phase out combustion engine cars by 2035. We should still be getting a refresh next year for the Sonata, probably to make it less catfishy. Make sure to watch my recent driving impressions. It's a really good sedan, and I really like the hybrid version of it a lot with around 50 miles per gallon. It's very smooth. Love the 6-speed automatic in it as well. But anyways, insiders are saying that the secret is open in the public, in the company anyways, that the Sonata will be discontinued. Sonata assembly lines are being converted to produce, you heard it first, well, maybe not first, but you heard it, electric cars. Rest in peace, Sonata for electric cars. Is that a little too early? In January, the Sonata and Grandeur sedans at the Asan factory in South Korea were changed over to manufacture the Ioniq 6 EV, which we don't have the Ioniq 6 EV yet. Stay tuned. I should be driving that car by the end of the year. I'm really excited. The Ioniq 5 is great, but the driving dynamics just seem a little bit off for how much power it offers. So hopefully things feel a little bit more tight, a little bit more dialed down in terms of driving dynamics with this Ioniq 6 sedan EV. The Sonata is the third best selling model. Well, we said it's the oldest nameplate in the Hyundai lineup, but over 9.17 million Sonatas sold, not only in Korea, but including the global market. And it's the third best selling model after the Avante and Accent. We know the Avante is the Elantra and the Elantra N, which was one of my favorite cars I've driven, maybe even ever. That car was absolutely mind-blowing. Did not have any expectations going in. The car rocked my socks. Anyways, it's about the Sonata, not the Elantra N today. Now, if we transition over to Wikipedia, not always the greatest source, but typically spot on, you have to remember that the Sonata is not only produced in South Korea, it's also produced here in Alabama, in the Montgomery plant. So that's the thing, is if they stop producing it in South Korea, it can still be produced here stateside, as well as its brother, the Kia K5. So just because the rumors are saying that it's dead for Korean production doesn't mean it's dead for American production. And if we go over to the sales volume here for the Sonata, it is still impressive, even in the day and age of crossovers, lovely crossovers. In 2021, the Sonata sold almost 100,000 units. They're not going to just erase that for like, okay, so let's say the Sonata starts mid $20,000. Are they going to replace 100,000 Sonatas with $47,000 Kia and Hyundai EVs? It just doesn't make any sense. And this vehicle, I don't see going away. Could they discontinue it and just keep the Elantra around? I guess so. I just don't see them killing the production here stateside. We don't have any confirmation, of course, from the horse's mouth. Hyundai has not said, of course, they're not going to say anything. Like, let's take a comparison. Toyota killed the Avalon. That was this past year. And that was 1 year before essentially the last model year. I think they announced it in late 2021. They're like, hey, Avalon's dead. 2022 is going to be the last model year of the Avalon. So I wouldn't expect an announcement from Hyundai until, gosh, 2024, because 2025 is probably the last model year in theory if they discontinue it for the Sonata. I just don't see it happening, but time will tell. And let's not forget Hyundai Motor Group to establish first dedicated EV plant and battery manufacturing facility in the United States. This is happening in Georgia, and this is costing them over $5.5 billion. It's going to create over 8,000 jobs. It's going to be a really good thing for Georgia and the surrounding areas. And it's good to see BEVs be produced here stateside. Annual capacity is 300,000 units. So let's say in 2020, right? It kind of lines up. It kind of lines up because this is saying production would start in first half of 2025. Could that be a Sonata-like vehicle? I highly doubt it. It's possible. more than likely, we're seeing crossovers come out of this factory first. That's the most important vehicles for all manufacturers right now. Crossovers. So just don't see it happening unless for some reason 5 years from now or 3 years from now when they're starting to produce batteries out of this plant, they're around $30,000. I just don't see that happening. I expect EVs to continue to be very expensive for a long time until we switch to a different battery technology and potentially cheaper motors. Permanent magnet motors are extremely efficient, but they're not quite the cheapest or environmentally friendly, as they have a lot of rare earth metals that are mined out of China most of the time, with tons of pollution associated with mining those rare earth metals into those permanent magnet motors. Anyways, I'm going to end it there. What do you think? Do you think the Sonata is dead in 2025? Do you think this refresh we'll get next year for the Catfish El Bagre El Saluro is the last of the refreshes for the Sonata? I suspect production to continue here stateside, even if it is canceled and for production on the other side of the world in South Korea. I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more Japanese and Korean auto news, Genesis news, Hyundai news, Kia news, all that good stuff. Catch you in the next video.